Hello folks, Jean here, a few hours after yesterday's video, but like 30 seconds after for me. Anyways, we talked about yesterday, the 3% delusion. For those who don't know the term, 3%ers, they're kind of they're a right-wing group. They're considered anti-government, when they're just anti-tyranny, anti-big government. But the idea that George Washington beat the British back in 1776 with only 3% of the population support fighting with them. And 3% delusion, because I'd like to take a look at that 3% number. 3% of the United States is roughly 10 million people. You should be able to liberate your country with 10 million people. You should be able to liberate your country with 3% of Canada's population, 1 million people. That is a massive fighting force. You should be able, 3% of Americans should be able to liberate the entire flippin' world. Alright? If you need 3% of the people to liberate your country, you're just bonkers. You're just never going to happen. Wake up. Yeah, you can do it. Alright? But you actually have to go out and do it. The thing is, you don't need 3%. You barely need 0.3%. You don't need a million people. And just like Jean's mentioned in another video talking about the 10 trillion rounds of ammunition and the citizens that they own, only a million of them probably are pointed at a direction, or willing to be pointed at the government, at tyranny. Yeah, if Red Dawn happens where you wake up and the Chinese are parachuting in, 10 trillion round of ammunition is going to be huge. But guess what? Out of those 10 trillions, not a lot of them are actually willing to fight for you. And you don't need 10 trillion rounds of ammunition. That's the thing, is all this ammunition, you don't even need to fire. If you would get off your 6+ hours of internet a day and go start doing stuff, you could probably change, in at least, I'll say 40 of the 50 states, there's probably 10 that will need armed conflict to actually free. But for most of the country, you could probably free completely of tyranny. Look at what Michigan did. Look how much pressure on the Michigan governor, where even Democrats are flipping, state senators are flipping on her and saying, you have stepped too far, the people are justified on what they're doing. You can do that without, but to say that, oh yeah, we could do it with 3%, yeah, duh, you could do it with 3%. I could liberate you from your tyranny with 3% of Canadians, alright? And we have a farther shot than you. Look at the record books, we could do it from across the border here and hit all the tyrants. But that's not, the thing is, you actually have to do it. Alright, now let's taking a look at the numbers from George Washington to now. There are some things I would like to point out, and these are things of just kind of proof that you're not doing anything. One, George Washington was a war leader already. He was established, he had officers, he had the whole structure underneath him. Most people who are like, I'm willing to overthrow the government, serve less than 10 years. Let's be real. There's not a lot of officers, career officers in that group, not a lot of generals and war leaders. Yes, staff sergeant is great at getting things done, at getting the plan done, but usually someone tells them the plan. We are going here for this reason. Alright? So there's a lot of that logistic thinking that isn't part of your 3% right now. There are officers with that planning. Of course, there are officers like, yeah, but if you flew a fighter jet, you might not understand how to, maneuver infantry. So there are some, but you don't have that top level logistical. You're not connected across the entire country like Washington was. Oh yeah, he didn't have the internet where he could send people, way down south or up north, wherever he is. He couldn't maneuver like that. But there's that structure where if he sent a messenger to this person, he knows what this person is doing and that person is doing, and so on and so forth. You don't have that. Number two, American weaponry, yes, they didn't have as much equipment, but they had equal equipment, and some of their equipment was actually better. I remember back in school reading about a British general on a hilltop who laughed because he saw American musket fire shooting in their direction because there's no way he could make it, and then his horse fell from underneath him because it made it. The American muskets were better than the British muskets. Alright? Look at your weaponry now. Your weaponry is not better or even as good as the government's. The government, like, just drones, I'm not talking about even their nukes and their cruise missiles and the fact that they could destroy a mile radius area with a Moab. I'm not talking about that, but just their drones, everyone has a fully automatic weapon, And we're lucky if we could get, 0.5% of our weapons to be fully automatic. You have let your rights be encroached on so much that you can't overturn the tyranny just by having them. That's the point of this whole idea. Oh, I support the Second Amendment. No, you don't. You support owning guns. You don't support a Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia means that you're well-regulated. You are a fighting force that can be called upon. You are not a bunch of fat, overweight couch potatoes who knows how to change the batteries better than in a remote, better than changing magazine or fixing a jam or all this stuff. Yeah, there are some of you that served and are able to do that, but a lot of you are out of practice. But most people who are a part of this movement of we need to overthrow tyranny are not. The National Guard, or the State Guard, or whatever, this is not your militia. The militia are, your captain's not this uniformed officer. The captain is, Joe Blow, who's the CEO of such and such a building, the local construction plant. And he has some experience, he has some training, but now he's more or less a civilian. And you do kind of the whole weekend warrior thing where you get together and you actively train and you engage and you get your neighbors together and you say, if something happens, we are trained to do this. Switzerland has a very good militia mentality. In Switzerland, you become an adult, you go learn and you train, then they give you a fully automatic assault rifle and send you home and says if someone steps foot inside our country without permission, you step out the door, you shoot twice, you go home. That's the quote from World War II. But that's how they do it, alright? Also funny how everyone has an assault weapon there and yet their violent crimes are one of the lowest in the world. Imagine that. But that's what a militia is. A well-regulated militia. You're pushing gun ownership, but you're not pushing the why. All right? If you're pushing true Second Amendment, you would know exactly everyone in your community who is ready to meet with you at the fire hall and overthrow tyranny. But you don't. And in fact, people who are trying to get into that mindset, as we talked about in Why Gun Owners Suck, you are just so toxic and filthy to be around that they can't even join with you. That the people who are trying to help you would think that you're going to shoot them in the back just as much as the government. And so there's infighting and there's such a division, not even in the country, but in your own communities because you are a terrible human being. Going back to also veterans don't get a free pass video. You're such a terrible person to be around, people don't want to be around you. Doesn't matter that you agree the same thing. It's just that we agree with the same thing on the Second Amendment, but 100 other things we disagree with, so we can't be friends. Just like Jean says that a gay person and a Christian can be friends because there's one thing they disagree about, but 99 things they agree about, just so is the other way around. Just because you agree about one thing doesn't mean that you will come together. And that's not always on there. Yeah, there's a lot of things where people, they don't agree, but a lot of it has to do with this toxic gun owner mentality that is just driving people away. I want to protect my country from tyranny, but when I step into the pro-2A type of people, and there's not 2A up here in Canada, but there is that type of people, but even up here, actually it's a different kind of toxic up here, that's equally pathetic but different. But I can't do it because you guys don't accept Jean, or you don't accept other people who want to join you, alright? That didn't happen in 1776. What happened in 1776 is you are helping me fight the redcoats. We are now bonded by something stronger than blood. We are now brothers in arms. You need to be brother in arms with the people to go out and fight, because if I don't trust you, I'm not going to go out and fight you. It's the idea of, do we want to draft? No, because we don't want to volunteer a draftee protecting our back. We want to volunteer. Just wake up. All right, you don't have the logistics, you don't have the upper military echelon, you don't have the cohesion with the people around you, and lastly but not leastly, you don't have half the army. People are like, oh well, half the armed forces are going to join us if we uprise. No, you don't. All right, most of the shooters, the gunmen, you'd be lucky if they just balk and say, I can't shoot my countrymen. But most of them are yes men. They're 18 to 21 years old for a reason. They're easily pressured and malleable. You say, oh, I wasn't like that. It's like you were doing exactly what they wanted you to. How many people, now that they're out of the military, are like, I don't actually like what we were fighting for, but I did it anyway. I don't like what I did over there, but I did it anyway. That's what they do. At best, we can hope that we have enough leaders in there that would stop it. And you see Trump telling states to, kind of tell their governors to tick off, that you can hope that the federal government would hold back the military fighting the citizenry. But you can't trust in them jumping ship. Alright? You can't. Because the truth of the matter is we really don't know. We don't know. It's not going to be done at a base level. It's going to be like, it's not going to be like the scene in Captain America: Winter Soldier, where you have all the guys with machine guns coming and the two security mall cop type guys with their sidearms, and they're going to reach for the sidearms, which is just stupid. I hated that scene. It's like, how dumb do you have to be? They already have the machine guns out. There's more of them than you. You have sidearms. Is like, you should like plan, retreat, plan, engage. Yeah, do that. Don't pull out your gun. If police are there, that's stupid. But the people aren't going to do that. They're not going to be that dumb where they're going to be like, okay, I have however many people around me, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to go out and fight with you, because they know that at best they're going to get arrested for insubordination, all that, blah 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 blah. But wartime, and we're already tyranny. There's a good chance they'll just up and get shot. And there's that fear, and the people in our military have gone through this corrupt system. We call it corrupt, this indoctrination system that's become our education system. We admit that, and then yet somehow we trust that the people who have made it through that are unscathed. No, that's why we don't trust it. We know that they were trained to be yes men, and now they are yes men. They're trained not to question, trained not to think that this is wrong, I should do. They're trained not to be the first person to rush the gunman in a mass shooting. That's why mass shootings just take out so many lives. If you were unarmed, you would, as a group, you can overwhelm a guy, and the first, 5, 6 might get shot, but the rest would be saved. Instead, we all run for the back door. Now 50 of us get shot. Remember Ben Carson back in 2016 Republican primaries when the Florida nightclub shooting happened, saying the same thing. And people criticizing him. You wouldn't be the first person. And he said, yes, I would, because I understand that I'm going to die anyway because I'm the closest to the gunman. But if I charge the gunman, and the people around me, we're all going to die. But if I charge forward, then the people behind us won't die. If we all run away, then they will. And that's what's happened. And that's what this generation, this 10 years younger than Jean, that's actively serving the military, they were not even not trained with that. They were purposely had that hammered out of them from 5 years old. Not even in the military training, but from 5 years old. You do not question. You turn tail and run. You do not rise up to a bully. You hunker down and get pounded on. The whole idea people were a lot more respectful when they could get their teeth knocked out of, that's been taken from our society. And it's true. And these people are not going to hop ship immediately just because, well, you're making funny memes on the internet and you're insulting their mothers because they asked an honest question because they don't know. Wake up, 3%ers. Wake up, everyone else. There are more than 3% wanting to overturn it, but there are less than 0.3% actually willing to do it. Everyone, it's so fun to distrust the government until it actually comes to put that into action. It's easy to say, but not easy to do. Alright, and this isn't a call to arms. I don't think we need to violently revolt, but I do think that we need to do something. And we're not doing it. And not only we're not doing it, we have no plans of doing it because we're too busy bickering and being just waving the internet wee around like, ooh, I'm a big man. No, you're not. No one likes you except for the other few of your friends that do the same thing. It's not cool. Alright? It's 2020. It's not cool. Be a leader. Be that leader. Be that, find people. There's so many people that just feel scared and lost, and you can come up and you can say, hey man, like, I got you. Come to this. We're going to plan. And don't call it militia training. Say the survival prep. Everyone after this, there'll be a lot of people. Survival prep, boom, yeah. And you could build bonds with them, and all of a sudden, boom, you're ready. Get ready. Do something. Stop saying you're going to do something and actually do it. Longer rant. It's kind of like 3 rants in one that kind of build up over time, but there you go. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you know what to do. If you thought this video was long-winded, yeah, it is. If you thought a little bit everywhere, yeah, it is. That's what happens when I get behind camera. If you dislike this video, go feed a homeless person. Let me know down below and hit that thumbs down. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.